of the Uplift World Whitepaper Chronicles, where we're walking through the whitepaper as a team. This one, I mean, this is where we get into the nonlinear DAO roadmap, and it's basically I look at this as basically degen crack. Just personally, this is all the stuff we know we're going to be able to do, and we wanted to just kind of list it all out there as showing people what we're going to be capable of, and then of course the DAO's going to be able to vote on what we prioritize on. Again, Tyler, you said this yesterday, and it's genius. This is a list for priorities, not promises, which I think it's just genius. Anyway, so if you want to follow along, I put the link to the white paper in the comments. Hello to everybody who's joining us live. Let's rock and roll. So you guys want me to start?
Yeah, go for it.
All right, cool. So a nonlinear DAO roadmap. The roadmap and features will adjust dynamically to the needs of the players. Have you ever wished you could have this or that feature in your favorite game? Now you can, and your wish comes true if enough community members feel the same. Everyone can suggest improvements or even come up with ideas for whole new features that will decide the whole path of the metaverse. The DAO will vote if and when new features will be implemented. This means, of course, that we can't present a static roadmap. That's the opposite. This does not mean we already have many. Have many groundbreaking. I'm gonna English the crap out of this.
Yeah, we need to fix that sentence anyway.
Right. This
Doesn't
does not
mean we
mean
don't
that we
have groundbreaking
don't
concepts.
already have many groundbreaking concepts in stash already to vote on for the start. Your voice matters. So there you go. Voting meme for the win. There are so many directions we could take the development of the Uplift. DAO voting will be critical for determining which to take and how quickly, as well as to judge the trade-offs of parallel or rapid development on the treasury. The DAO will lean on community members to help identify gaps on new projects, for which there will be both a proposal vote and an approval vote. All the roadmap items listed below will be voted on after the DAO has been formed. So Jesus Christ. So the specifics of how each item will work will be decided by the community. Active participation and building from community members is crucial for this work to go smoothly. Here's the visual one that you can't see yet, but it's fancy. I've seen it. It's amazing because Dennis is brilliant. Anyway, we'll have that on there at some point. All right, so here's the list. Like this is the meat and potatoes of this episode. If we could maybe switch off on these, apparently I'm gonna need I'm actually drinking real coffee today. It's that Zestra, exactly. I drink in the actual caffeinated drug coffee this
No
morning.
problem.
So I'll get on
I'll
that.
have something to say on most of them anyway. So
Right.
we can trade off.
Cool. Okay. Well, first features to vote on. Now let's take a peek on a few features we already have in stash for you. The first wave of new services that burn up lithium. So I'll just take the first one, and you can click on these. It's very fancy. So punch sign equals trigger something. Automated sign punch event tracking. Automatic sign punch tracking. Choose a sign on your plot, burn up lithium, and get assigned a wax wallet. Send NFTs to the wallet, and they will be distributed to sign punchers according to the options you choose. Now, I think there's like a gazillion variations on this, right? So, Chris, can you maybe talk about some of the stuff we can do now that maybe people don't really know about, and the different kinds of things that we're going to be able to assign to the punch sign function?
Yeah. So the core of this is the ability to register your sign or whichever sign you're interested in as sort of a point of interest. The first version that we've posted here is because a lot of people have wanted to use Punch Sign as a way to distribute NFTs, either NFTs that from their collection or just repackaged NFTs from a bunch of collections that they purchased as sort of a gift bag. So the idea is to let you register it, have a wax wallet assigned or an address that you can send those to, and have them be drawn from that according to how you want to punch the sign. But right now, we've been doing manual sign punch tracking for projects occasionally, like some of the Shipletopia races events and a couple of other times, like our stress testing events, and we can spit out a list of all the Wax wallets that have punched that sign, also all the Minecraft accounts, and so people can then do whatever they want with that list. I would see, like on Enter.the Uplift, it would be very cool to have just a list then of signs that you have chosen to get tracked, to have a list of stats for that sign, how many people have punched it, how many people punched it today, to have the option to export a list, as well as having automated features like NFT drops that you've got linked up to it. Yeah, it's pretty endless, to be completely honest. We also trigger punch signs, I think, through snowballs right now, and I believe we can separate those two later, so that if you wanted to, you could be putting signs up in inaccessible places that people have to throw snowballs at. So, options.
That's fun. Options. That's good cake. That's super fun. All right, you want to take this one?
Yeah, create your experience world with the press of a button. Automatic experience world creation. Choose plots connected to include and server capacity desired. Burn Upliftium to initiate the experience world and pay Wax for each week that it's operational. So basically, right now we've done experience worlds for groups for events where we take a chunk of land in one of these worlds and we copy it to another server. We talked about it yesterday, but this would let people do it themselves. You could take your plot, and you could probably even take your neighboring plots that you don't own, because they're going to be dragged along into the experience world, and those people are also going to get rewards. So I don't think anyone's going to have a complaint about having their plots be used in experience worlds this way.
Right.
And then, yeah, you cover the server costs basically in Wax so that the DAO isn't out Wax, but you burn Upliftium so that the whole value of Upliftium and DAO and the rewards are improved by that. And then you get a lot of extra buttons that you can press, right? Like you can make it a creative or a survival mode for that experience. You just can't bring items back across. You could turn off all the plot ownership so that people can mine out everything in there and turn the place into a wasteland. You can turn off animals if you just need to streamline it so that you can get 16 or 28 people racing on a track at a time. Lots of options again. So, yeah.
Yeah, that's fun. I want to get to Zestra commented and created the acronym PSGT, punchline get thing, which yes. I don't think I've ever seen before, but I totally love it. So with PSGT, can you limit how many times a single person punches? I would imagine that on the server side or on our side, because you don't want people to basically bot the pool of NFTs you have, right? So you can just do one at a time, I would imagine.
Yeah, my vision for this would be that there are a bunch of options you can tick for the sign, where it's like, do you want to limit it to one person per day? Do you want to limit it to one person per lifetime of the sign? Do you want it to be 5 punches so that people can get rapid punches off for some reason? Do you want to make people punch it 100 times before you drop one item and don't give anybody any evidence that it's working until then? Like, ideally. Yeah.
That thing in Elden Ring, I saw an article on this. Apparently there's a wall in Elden Ring that you legitimately have to hit 50 times for it to show you the secret room. And like, someone found that. Like, that I'm worried for that person. Like, right? It's like, how many places were you around just going, don't. Well, I mean, if I do it another 47 times, maybe. Anyway, that's amazing. That's really fun. But even like having a pool and setting it up so that, there's like 1,000 NFTs in there and you can even come once a day. Like that, I think that makes it for some really interesting things as well.
Yeah, well, and like one thing that I don't remember if is actually in this white paper yet, but is one that I want to get added because we've had lots of chats with the community and it's going to be fun if we can do this, is a quest system. So right now we are talking about a job system where people could set up individual jobs for people, but a quest system that goes on top of our additional reward system where there's a bit of Upliftium budgeted for it, and we can set tasks every day. And if you accomplish those tasks, you get a certain set amount of Upliftium. One of those tasks that I would love to have from day one, basically, is we'd set up sign punch laps, where like anyone who's registered to sign for anything else has the chance of having their sign included in this lap. And then we choose 10 or 15 signs each day, and anyone who goes around and punches all 15 signs that day gets some Upliftium, right? So you could register for other things and still benefit in the reward system too.
Yeah, that's cool. I like it. Dennis, you want to take this one?
Yeah. Merge and break land keys. Yeah, this is basically what the headline told. So we want to make you able to merge land keys to bigger land keys if they are next to each other, of course. or make you able to divide them again. We will likely have some kind of a minimum size. I think we haven't determined yet what it will be, but I think it will be really useful, especially if you bought a number of plots and want to join them. And maybe we will also have some kind of benefits that come with this and individualizations. But yeah, this is all also in discussion right now.
Right.
But we are looking really forward to it.
As a basic idea, you could have like 100 by 100 plot, and then sort of chop that up into 4 50 by 50 plots. Right.
Yeah,
And then you have
exactly.
4 different
Ideally,
NFTs.
we're not talking about volume right now. We're just talking about land footprint, right?
Yeah.
Because we can do volume and stuff with guilds, and there's a few other features that will let us do it for nested subregions. Even with land, though, the biggest concern is you don't want someone to mint, a grid of plots and then prevent people from being able to access the plots they bought in the middle of the grid, by having big walls and stuff up. As our population builds, these are issues we're going to have to get to, where we might need observers to say, look, you have to put a door in this in order to let people access plots that have been completely blocked off.
Right.
We might have to offer people free portals here or there to handle things like that, or we might make the subdivision system so that every plot has to have like a driveway that gets to the outside of the plot. There's a few options there. It'll be a great one for the DAO to give input on. But
right. Yeah, I think that's gonna be interesting. So become a landlord. Speaking of, Sestra was talking about becoming an Uplift slumlord because that's what her son wants her to do. It's a weird flex, but okay. A rental interface where plot owners can subdivide the plot and have others players rent a volume. And so that I think goes into the kind of guild stuff that you were talking about, right, Tuttle?
Yeah, exactly. So I mean, we should probably have guilds up above this so that it becomes clearer how they're sort of related, right? But in guilds, you'd be able to pool land and then redistribute permissions for that land without changing your actual land keys, right? So you could assign people volumes for shops or for their own hotel rooms, but that would all tend to be to the guild members who are holding guild NFTs that they've activated. But the exact same interface can just be rebranded as a landlord interface, where people either have to hold a renter NFT so that they have access to rent from you, or they don't need it at all. That's something we can do entirely through game, where as long as they're paying Upliftium regularly, they have access, but there's no NFT to sell and then to have deactivated and to have issues around permissions there.
All right, import your awesome builds, creative mode only, obviously. Install a build from schematics or creative mode plots. I mean, I assume this would be an Upliftium sync, yeah?
Oh yeah, big Upliftium sync for sure. And similarly, we don't have it on the white paper, but for survival mode, like I'm getting this slide built right now, this boat race track, right? And there are great ways to design things in creative mode, to get the schematics, to split those up amongst people, and then to have a big manual barn raising party in survival mode. And it would be cool for us to put a few more tools in so that that's easy for people. Because I think these joint builds are a lot of fun, and they could also be a big Upliftium sync. Again, we're all a DAO after, so there's no reason anyone couldn't, in theory, get paid in Upliftium instead of it just being burned, as long as the DAOs agree that's the right path to go for that person.
Right. I like it. All right. So this one's fun. The most awesome looking invisible armor you have ever, we should like almost start not seen, but whatever. So invisible armor NFTs to allow you to show off your skin while keeping the stat bonuses of your armor. I mean, so the first person that comes to mind is, Digital Acid. They're putting out a bunch of, Minecraft skin NFTs based on their, duchy and whatever, like all those fun stuff. I think you can even buy one that's based off the Ken doll now, which is the Ken Bozak thing. So that's kind of fun. But then, survival worlds are dangerous. Just, follow me around gratitude for 5 seconds and you realize how dangerous, because I die very quickly. So this would be really great for me. I could be wearing like, uber maximum armor, but you could still see my goofy NASA t-shirt and khaki shorts.
Yeah, definitely. And also it will basically kick off all this kind of armor and NFT and visuals stuff we are intending to implement into the game.
Right.
It's a good example too, like those will be NFTs. Right, and those will be equipable on enter.theuplift, basically. And once they're equipped, they then hold that slot. So you can still equip armor in that slot in game, but it'll always be invisible until you've unequipped the armor on Enter.the-Uplift. For some fun cosmetics and things like that, it makes perfect sense to have them as NFTs that are then activated on the site and not melted or consumed or anything like that, not lost in game. That also means we can do a sale for them, right? The DAO will be the decision maker on how we do that sale, but I've envisioned having a sale in Upliftium where each item increases the price of the next one in Upliftium, and then also having some sort of flat wax rate sale. So that people sort of have the option of, if they get early and they're really excited and have a lot of Upliftium, to get a discount on it, but eventually it'll hit a price that makes sense to start buying in wax and funding the DAO. So
Yeah, that'll be cool. I wonder if we could do. I don't think we talked about this, but one of the things expansion did that I kind of wailed into is like they actually sold whitelist spots. See, like, and so I wonder if we could do that with Upliftium, like, right? If we had some stuff like this, we could just like sell an NFT that was like a spot on the sale or something like that. I don't know. It's probably might be a dumb idea, but
no,
there you
it's
go.
worth exploring, right? I think they're slightly different things. I think by doing that Upliftium one where it increases each time, you're kind of offering a big discount to 5 or 10 people who have bought Upliftium off the market and are, getting ready to do a big burn.
Right.
But then you could still have whitelist spots for a cheap wax one, right? And then have your regular price wax for everything else, and do an auction for the whitelist spots and see if the auction rate up to the difference or not, right? Like, it doesn't have to be
Indeed. No one should need to travel alone. Pets are fun. Pet and companion NFTs for company. I had so in the Discord, I think it was yesterday or the day before, somebody very heartfelt, tagged me and said, I bought this piece of land because there was 2 llamas on it, and somebody came and stole my llamas. And of course, people informed that person that sometimes llamas just go away, and it's very much your luck. But a couple people were like, "Did you just tag the founder of the Uplift about your lost llamas?" I'm like, "Hey, this is not how I saw my life going." It's just, but here we are. Right? People love pets. It's a thing. It's pretty fun. So anyway, pet and companion NFTs sound pretty fun, and I think there's a project on that I keep getting dinged on Facebook. I can't remember the name of it, but they're sort of joining us in this thing that is a genre. We'll see how much they can do, but I think they're doing that with like penguins or something. So I think like along the pet and companion NFT thing for the Uplift, I think this is like a vein that we could be iterating on for years to come and just never slow down.
Right? Like, it's only one line in there, but there's so much that it could be. It could also be the way that people wind up trading animals in the future. Like, we could have pets that we're selling that are special that you can't get in game otherwise, that exist, that are equipable on Enter.the-Uplift and don't die. But you could also maybe have a system where you convert your pets or your animals in game into NFTs, then sell them, and then you've got a secondary market for these pets that people can basically melt back into game.
This is the way. Yeah, I think that, and I think this is elsewhere, but like the second that we start sort of allowing people to crystallize, 1,000 wheat or 10,000 glass or whatever, I think that's going to make things really weird and very fun. All right, TripAdvisor, now in your Uplift world. Don't forget to leave a rating. Display shops, events, points of interest on a map. Now, the first thing that comes to mind, like we have Andre Abello in the comments here. He's doing Lax Virtual Lands, which is a way you can sort of find land and stuff and create some interesting things around that. And of course, there's the shop list from Frame Games and Tiny Name's Brittany, who, by the way, they're going to be on the show tomorrow morning, which is going to be really fun before we do part 4 of the whitelist thing. But yeah, I think integrating that into Enter.the-Uplift just seems like something to be really great. And I think, like, isn't there plans to be integrating that kind of functionality or some form of it into the maps as well?
Absolutely.
Yeah, and I just thought it would be really fun if someone would write a real TripAdvisor app for this stuff.
It makes perfect sense, honestly, because the biggest issue with letting people burn Upliftium to put a point of interest on the map is that they'll put a false point of interest on the map. Like, if someone puts up a point of interest saying, hey, we're a shop and we're selling glass for super cheap, and then there's nothing there, it would be nice for people to be able to leave feedback saying, yeah, there's nothing there.
Right. That's like everybody for now. You guys know I have played Elden Ring a little bit over the last month. Like it's like the same Dark Souls too. Like they'll have messages that go, "Hey, just jump off this cliff." However, then other people come messaging like, "This guy's a lying piece of crap. I jumped off this cliff and I died."
Yeah, and Airbnbs are next.
Well, and this is the thing. So just I don't know. I'll get out a little bit over my skis here because that's kind of the nature of this episode, which I love a lot. But I'm talking with Andre now about making a proposal for the DAO where we can take everything that he's learned creating Lax virtual worlds and everything we're kind of talking about here, and propose to the DAO. Like Andre's the kind of person that can come and really make something like this, right? And so it ends up being kind of like a social profile where I'm kind of envisioning like it'd be amazing if each piece of land actually had its own profile, and if you own the NFT, you have that
Definitely.
profile. You can put a point of interest in it on it if you want to, but it's public, right? And people can comment on it, and because it's public. And the second that you trade that NFT out, well, you no longer own that page, right? And that of course would be connected to the map, and then the map is also good. That page can connect out to the seeing that asset on Atomic or on Nefty or on OpenSea, wherever we happen to be or whatever. It's just that is gonna, I think, just increase our network effect and the ability for people to find the things they want to find and or buy them and or connect with the people that are doing it. It could be really awesome. So anyway, we're gonna create a DAO proposal and see how people like it.
Yeah, well, and just a quick DAO aside, because that's a really good point as we're going through this. If you see anything in here and you think, hey, I want to do that, that's part of what this DAO is about, is you could be the person doing this. The voting for prioritization is more voting to say, hey, look, assuming the existing team is staying on in roles that are being paid to handle development and the progression of all of these sort of things, which ones do you want us working on first? But there's only so much that can be done in that pipeline. The DAO will vote to find better or more resources and hire more people as there's ways to do that. But there's also the option to do, bounties or have somebody say, hey, look, I'm reserving that project. I'm going to work on that when it's done. DAO can vote and let me know how much you think it's worth to me, right? Like there's a lot of options for how we can execute more projects in parallel without necessarily clogging the main pipeline. So yeah, just start reaching out, but also start making one-pagers, right? And what features you'd think would be important in here, and start thinking about it if you are a developer and want to get involved at that level.
Yes. All right. Action landscaping and extreme gardening. Landscaping services for creative mode plots. And this is something we did way early on before we became kind of the Uplift that we are now. There's something called World Edit where you can basically just go in and gouge stuff out or what have you, right? There's God mode commands where that kind of thing works. Obviously, we definitely never want to do that in a survival world because it kind of messes with the economy. But on creative worlds, we can just do an uplifting burn and have one of our mods come in as a service and clear a plot out or do again extreme landscaping. It's pretty simple, but I think people would end up using it and it'll burn Upliftium. Okay.
Just one tiny comment there too.
Yeah.
We could do any of this in survival mode too. The whole point has been, again, the team, well, we've been running this by ourselves, didn't want to touch survival mode, right? We're trying to keep this as player to player as possible. But if the DAO changes their mind and wants to start offering services, be they people who have creative mode access in survival mode or just groups of people who are using survival mode to its full advantage, it's something you guys can look at. We just haven't thought that's a great idea. We've thought it's best to limit the impact of mod actions in survival economies.
Right. But I mean, if a critical mass in the DAO says that, hey, we want this thing, then yeah, I mean, game on. Let's rock and roll.
Right? I mean, if you burn 200 million Upliftium to clear out a plot in survival mode, maybe the whole DAO thinks, hey, that's a great way to get rid of a whole week's worth
Wait,
of
what? Yeah, right. Good point. Wait, did he say purr or purge? So burn some Upliftium to enable PvP on your plot. I mean, I know so many people that would do that in like a New York second.
Yeah, and this is one of those ones where I think the ability to do it is already there. It's been tested to a certain extent. It's just we've been waiting to get our automated Upliftium services rolling so that we can charge people for it. And if we just did it on an ad hoc basis to whoever messaged us the loudest, we'd be very busy enabling PvP in a slapshot way all over the place. But it could be coming fairly quickly once things are rolling.
Yep. My nether, my rules. Jimmy did these titles, didn't he?
That was me.
It was you? Oh, I'm so sorry. You know what? I should have known. The second I said that, I'm like, these are witty, and you guys both can be witty, although I think maybe secretly you are much wittier. But these all only have like 10 words, so that can't be Jimmy. I thought, like, literally thought of that right after I said it. So, sorry, Dennis, you rule. My nether, my rules. Uplifting and burn to own the nether under your plot. I mean, how many people would want that? Even just in the comments right now, there's like 9 people here. So, okay, here's a question. Would that come with a portal automatically to the nether, or just the ability to create one?
So I don't know if it would come with one automatically, because yeah, you could then create one if you wanted to. But the idea would be, like, I believe the way that it works, travel in the nether is at a different ratio than in the overworld. So you basically own a smaller plot of the nether that mapped geographically to your plot. So it felt like it's the nether under your plot. And in some cases, that might be totally inaccessible. So you might need a portal. So, like, as we assess it, if it turns out most people are going to need one, maybe we just include that in the burn price. And there's a portal that lets you jump back and forth. Yeah, the nether has been a weird area. And, like, I don't love how it's been going, to be completely honest. I think it's a great spot for the DAO to start getting involved. Like, I think owning the nether under your plot could handle a lot of these issues, but maybe we want to make it a grief allowable PvP on, keep inventory off area. People might prefer that in some of these worlds, and so this could be a world by world decision as well.
All right, leave a message. Burn for a pop-up display when someone walks onto your plot. I would do this instantaneously, and I think, if I'm not mistaken, if you go to the Burning Man, just over the water from Cathedral 1.0 in Old World, I think there's still a pop-up message that comes up there. It's basically like you walk through that sort of invisible barrier, and it automatically pops up. Like, I would do that right off the bat for like the Gratitude Farm or the Gratitude Birch Farm, or Uplifter's Tower for that matter, or whatever. I think it's just a really cool thing that we could do.
Right, and again, easy. Like, this could be one that's rolled out of the next few weeks, to be completely honest.
That's awesome. Yeah, Zestra in the comments. Yes, Burning Man was why I suggested it. Love this. Cool beans. All right, don't just own your building rights. Export buildings or print them. Export builds as 3D models, or even purchase 3D prints. I'm just expecting TC to put a W and then a bunch of spaces and then an H and then a bunch of spaces and then an A and then a bunch of spaces and then a T, because this is rad.
I've had people reach out looking for this already. Like, some people use scanning plugins on their own client to sort of pull really specific regions, but it's a pain, and it's not always super accurate. And it doesn't always capture plots you can't see, or spots you can't see, I don't think. But we could easily make this available for people. There was somebody in the Telegram back in the day that did 3D printing as a service. We could keep a little list of people who have 3D printers, and even just, they get we might be able to have an interface where we pay you through this to get the 3D prints done for people.
Right. Yeah. Just basically be a pass through, like, some of those t-shirt companies or whatever. Like, if somebody puts your stuff on a thing or whatever.
Exactly.
Andre, I know what you're thinking, and we'll keep everyone posted.
Cool. This is also sort of linked to, like, expanding the places where people can see the uplift, right? We can get 3D models of the whole world, right? And from various places, and those are things that we could then convert into a format that's much more explorable through a browser. So yeah, there's lots of reasons we want to look at this. And again, if you're super into this side of it, let us know, because I don't think we have anybody specifically on the team for whom this is their passion. A lot of people will do it, but, like, it's not the thing that we're the most excited about. We just know how big a deal it is.
Way to bury the lead, though, too. By the way, Larry Green, I've got a printer in the comments. Woohoo! I'd love to test this out. I think that'd be like just a super fun thing to play around with. But the ability to take world files or local world files, like plot files, right, for the 3D voxel for a plot, and or for a gallery or for whatever, and be able to change that into Unity or Unreal 5 or some other platform where, again, like Chris was saying, on mobile or something else where browser based, you could basically go and tour different areas without having the friction of needing Minecraft. Like, that's something we've been talking about for a while, and it's just, at the second that the DAO wants us to make that our one priority, obviously when we have the runway to handle it, I think that could just be a complete and total game changer. But again, like, half of these are game changers. The rest of them are like really fun and like, yay, or whatever. But so many of these things are just, they'll have such a profound effect on what we're doing. All right, finally, we know what a prospector probe prospects. Yeah, these are way funnier than Jimmy. Dennis, you rule. Prospecting reports showing how many of what resources are in a given plot you own. So if I have this accurately, like, you basically spend some Upliftium and you just kind of get a readout of like, there's X diamonds, there's like, is it just going to be kind of a list like that?
Absolutely, yeah. Just a printed out list of everything that's on your plot blockwise. Maybe not absolutely everything. We may keep it to the most critical items, but I don't see any reason why we couldn't do everything if you want to then slug through the report.
Right.
It would also be a cool one where if you've paid for it, to have that be linked to the NFT. Maybe not on day one, but we can keep all this data. And when you do an NFT swap of some sort, we could then put in, hey, click this link for a list of the resources on this plot. So
would it update?
So no, it would be theoretical max resources, but combined with plot regeneration, you then know what you could get out of that plot later if that's what you're looking for.
Right. Okay. Cool. All right, Dennis, I definitely want your opinion on this, both of you guys. So NFT items, crafting and alchemy taken to the next level. So NFT crafting, craft and upgrade equipable items, parts, your laboratory and buffs, etc., using Upliftium, exported Minecraft resource NFTs, and other NFT items you earned or found in the world. Dennis, you and I have talked about this a bunch. Chris, you and I have talked about this a bunch. Like, this is like every play to earn game that ever went nuclear times everything that we're doing. It just, what?
Right, and there's many ways this could play out too. We have to be careful with the Minecraft terms of service, right? Like, we want to make sure that we're not, doing anything that would run hugely afoul of that. But if you imagine, like, at the very lowest level, you could crystallize resources from in-game, and then you could use a blending service for those resources to create some sort of fun cosmetic that you equip on Enter.the Uplift, things like invisible armor. If you take it further, we could join the Minecraft crafting and the NFT crafting, so that in order to get some later stage resources, maybe even new ones that we bring in through a plugin or cosmetic blocks or things like that, you would have to craft some stuff in game, get those crystallized into NFTs, do some crafting, some blending of those NFTs to get new resources, and those might be the only way you get them in game is by importing them after you've crafted them through blending. And then there might be a crafting chain in game to get to the final product. So, like, we can unify these so that people are jumping back and forth as much as makes sense, and get pretty creative.
Well, and
we can do so many things. For example, we could use the resources to, I don't know, if I take the exploring probe, for example, we could make it a way you need to build the parts and then the thing, and can use this token to trigger it, or so many things. Yeah.
No, exactly. Like, we also have miners, right? And we could have new mining blends that require existing miners, but also like 300 netherite pickaxes, right? And that changes everything.
Yeah, it just gets really, really, really fun. And again, the DAO, I think, can and will gamify a lot of that, just because there's an infinite number of possibilities there. It's really fun. I keep wondering about when does an enterprising group that is sort of taking a look at how awesome the Uplift community is, when do they say, okay, well, like, we're going to create a game, but only with resources from inside the Uplift world, right? Like, it's only gonna, like, the way this game works will be, here's some of our NFTs, but like the other half of them are all these different templates that are coming out that are crystallizable from inside the Uplift. and it's just again, like other projects can turn that into a game, and there won't be anything we can do to stop it, nor would we want to. But like that, like it just, it makes that much more valuable or value for everyone using.
Really good point. Well, and even again within the DAO, like if you want to make a game, right? Maybe the DAO will help fund it, right, in various ways. Like maybe it has to be post facto, maybe it has to be an upliftia, maybe it's in a guaranteed percentage of what's going on through the secondary revenue on the resources that you're using. But like the DAO can have multiple games together without it being one singular dev team putting everything together. We just, haven't split resources ourselves that way yet.
Yeah, definitely. And if you need a big audience or something, we could also make the keys that are around multi-purpose or something like this, of course.
I like it. I like it a lot. All right, events, usually on Experience Worlds. Sky's the limit. Skyblock World with admission and periodic resets. So can you guys tell me what a Skyblock World is?
Yeah, so it's actually a game mode that wouldn't take place on an Experience World, I don't think, unless somebody maybe crafted a plot that was specifically designed to be a special version. Because what it usually is each person starts on a little island in the sky with a couple of key resources and I think like one tree. And it's about how much you can build from those resources just by farming and multiplying, right? Instead of having access to a big pool to mine. I believe they also do PvP on a lot of Skyblock worlds, so you're building your island over to other people's islands and eventually finding them and killing them. But I don't know if you have to have that. I think people play peaceful Skyblock too, where it's just player versus environment.
That's fun. All right. 2 go in, 1 comes out. I sort of resemble this comment. My, 9-year-old nephew famously set me on fire in the first PvP event that I got to play in. That little jerk. Anyways, yeah, I think PvP tournaments are going to be, pretty big.
Well, I also think they're one of the ones that we're going to see on non-experience worlds as well as experience world copies, right? Like lots of people have built coliseums or arenas and they can enable PvP and they can run their own sort of tournaments in there. But if they communicate well with the DAO, we'll know about them. We'll have them as events on the calendar. We'll even be able to vote to sponsor prizes, right? So it doesn't have to be in an experience world, but if anybody ever wants to do like a 300 person multi-tiered smackdown and involve like people who don't own land, we could sell passports for you, right? And then the experience world becomes even more valuable.
Yeah, 100%. That's why like having the burn up lithium to toggle PvP on or off on a plot is just so much fun, right? Like that. Just so many people are going to take advantage of that right off the bat that have created the sort of environment for these things. All right, so Bed Wars is something else I don't understand. So Bed Wars on Experience Worlds copied from the best areas in the Uplift World. Again, Experience Worlds being like we just carved that part of a world out and can put it on its own server architecture so that we can pile a couple hundred people on it.
Yeah. So I haven't actually played it myself, and I might get some of this wrong. But basically, the idea is that you get a bed and you respawn to that bed. But if anybody else finds your bed and breaks your bed, then your next death is your final death. I don't remember if you can move your own bed around or if the beds are sort of assigned at the beginning. But protecting the location of your bed is very important and keeping it hidden. So it's sort of like Battle Royale, but you get infinite lives until your bed has been found and trashed.
Battle Royale. I mean, I feel like that's kind of a big gameplay sort of situation in the sort of video game universe. That's sarcasm. I'm not very good at sarcasm. It's massive.
Well, and I love the idea of our experience world where we take like a region of downtown Genesis and we let people go crazy on it for a 3-hour or 4-hour battle royale type period. We can even, I believe, reduce the outside regions like they do in the real battle royales, but we'll have to figure that part out. And then once the people have mined through it, destroyed bits, built up new bases that span everything, model that, sell it as an NFT. And then have people be able to import that build into a creative mode if they want to show off a trophy of what that whole battle royale world used to look like.
We have a battle royale that's like the guilds teams that are going in and doing that. I just want to make sure people understand what you just said. Like the whole idea is like that entire area, right? Like the spawn or something, or a giant black monument or something gets completely and totally destroyed with forts all over the place, like this evidence of these two teams going at it and ultimately one of them ending up winning. We basically carved that out as its own thing, and we could sell that plot as an NFT that can then be installed, in any plot that you own in a creative world, so that you can basically like have that whole world that you basically won your battle on, as a trophy. Which, and again, you could 3D print it, and you could do like just then everything gets all freaking mental. It's so much fun. Anyway, I only play hardcore mode. One life admission based hardcore world with season resets and leaderboard prizes. Yeah, Dennis, what do you think about this one?
Yeah, I think it would be something of a lot of fun if we could, higher the stakes a little bit, because we have already seen that the survival worlds, really in favor of the players. So this would be the next level, basically.
Yeah, I agree. I think we're going to try to cater to people who really like hardcore PvE and PvP through two places. One is through events like this, where we've got worlds or experience worlds that reset somewhat regularly and have that actual hardcore game mode enabled. The other way will be through a hardcore survival world cluster of some sort that is PvP on, keep inventory off, and does have some land ownership in a classic sense, but where it's very much not connected to our existing cluster. I think the events are going to become very popular, especially if the DAO lets people bring equipment in but not out to them, or maybe only melt NFT equipment to get into those ones. So you could technically get a big starting advantage if you go through a bunch of equipment, but you're losing that equipment from the rest of the worlds once you do that. And yeah, we can do prizes in shards, Upliftium, but we could also potentially do prizes in NFT resources that we've collected back from the community. So, yeah.
Being active and awesome pays off more than ever. Connectium, working title. NFT coins that are only obtainable through activity and participation in game events, as well as positive Discord community interaction, an important reward to encourage activity since they will be a needed part for the most rare and valuable blends. Sign me up.
Yeah, this was Dennis, and I think it's such a great idea where, like, Upliftium is the in-game token. Our DAO token is important for governance and for other features like that. And then Connectium would be sort of an NFT-based token, but it would be like our flux for the most important blends. So like if we release a bunch of new miner pools, we might have a Connectium requirement, and that Connectium was only ever achievable by being a positive presence in the community, having a lot of Discord interactions, and pulling weight in a way that isn't necessarily directly linked to development or in-game play, right?
Yeah, that's fancy. Dennis, you want to add to that?
No, I think that sums it up. We always reward activity.
Yep, there you go. I actually like the name. I think it speaks volumes. Andre had a question in the comments. If I understand correctly, we will be able to buy a special sword through an NFT. Now, this is where I think the end user license agreement for Microsoft, it's important to understand that like we as the DAO, the company, the company can only sell things that are kind of cosmetic, right? That don't affect sort of like gameplay at that level. But player to player, you guys can totally do that. So if you have a sword, you can obviously put that in a shop and you can sell it for Upliftium. Yay, right? Now, just by an extension of that, you should be able to crystallize that sword and throw it up as an NFT on Nifty, and then sell it yourself, right? Like player to player, it's kind of the sky's the limit. Like there's really no firm rules around that, and so you can definitely do that yourselves. It's just something we have to be clear that the DAO itself is doing.
Yeah, and I think that's a really good point to hammer home. Like the DAO could increase recipes, right, and make it easier for players to trade in between each other. What we don't want to do is sell final products that offer a game advantage, right? So we might make it possible to make a sword or a pickaxe that you've never had in game before, and make it only possible if you blend resource NFTs or other things like that. But those are other people's assets. We're not selling it. We're just making it available as a pathway for people, and I think that should be fine.
Yep. And again, like players should be going out and doing that. Like that's the sort of like one of the primary economic drivers for the whole thing, right? Like you guys could and should, and we'll facilitate all sorts of different fun and awesome ways between the shops for Uplift Humor NFTs that we possibly can. All right, so season passes, you deserve it. Season passes, players who meet certain game or activity criteria get a pass that lasts, for example, 3 months and has one of 3 tiers. 1 is very easy to get, 3 very hard. They offer whitelisting, perks, and bonuses for in-game activities, but also pack sales, etc. So I don't even think I'd actually read through that one. So that's really interesting. Whose idea was this?
I think this was a Dennis one as well. Yeah.
Cool beans.
Well, and it's neat because it's like, we did the uplist back in the day.
Right.
And this would sort of be like a dynamic uplist that doesn't involve people going out and soliciting for membership. But, if you're meeting certain criteria, you're on it, and you're on it for a little while so that if you happen to take a vacation or something, you don't just immediately lose it. But as long as you're on it, you've got perks.
To me, this means Dennis is on fire, Andre, in the comments. It seems like this would be a something that we would absolutely sell for Connectium. Right, because it seems like it's sort of 2 sides of that. Please excuse me, coin. But having that, all the different things that we want to have. Certain game criteria or active criteria in the Discord or in whatever. If we're having people have the ability to earn this new Connectium thing with that, then it would make sense to basically turn that around and have a Connectium market on Nifty, where you could do blends or swaps or what have you. And get those perks as NFTs or those season passes as NFTs.
Yeah, I think very probably. And I don't know where Dennis was thinking on some of this too, but there's an argument to be made for making Connectium non-transferable from the person and saying, hey, look, this is one of the few things where if you're doing the activity that rewards that, you get the reward, but we don't really want that reward to be directly accessible by people who buy it. But personally, I think it's always nice to be able to sell something that you earned if and if you can't afford necessarily to keep it, or if you've made a lot of value out of it. It's, I don't know, making things non-transferable has issues too. So.
Yeah, and we also have, I think, 2 items below something like achievements, which would be non-transferable. So
right. Well, even I wonder if you could buy a season pass NFT, but then you have to burn it to activate it. Right. So it just updates your status for the however long in enter.the_uplift, but it destroys the NFT. So we're not having to constantly backtrack to look at those things.
Yeah, we could also have a very limited number of season passes for purchase available. And the biggest part could be only available by playing or something like this. Many possibilities.
Yeah, and why not make it more diverse? The DAO will have a chat about that, but being able to, I love the idea of most things also being accessible somehow through a wax or an Upliftium burn, right? Because the DAO is going to need regular wax income, and we don't necessarily want to have to do sales all the time for that. So having different places where people can spend wax if they want, and then having Upliftium burn options that are set in a way that keeps the economy rolling, and then also having whatever that special feature is that is unique to that one NFT or asset, seems fun.
Indeed. All right, game quality. Well then, I'll found my own club, guilds. I mean, we've been talking about guilds a lot, and I think this is the future. I almost see them as little sub DAOs. This is going to be really incredible. So NFTs for guild owners and NFTs for members bought with Upliftium. Members can activate their NFTs, then choose to pool lands rewards to the quote guild bank. Guild owner or consensus of members decides how to assign land use, including nested regions, as well as rewards splits. So who wants to tackle that one?
I don't mind. I think that part's pretty clear. So basically the way I've been seeing it is the guild owner will mint the initial NFT, and they'll have options. This may even be a semi-manual process where you can put your own picture up for the NFT. And you mint your owner NFT. You also mint as many member NFTs as you want. There will be a price. We may have a price that increases with each member as well, so that as you get bigger, it gets harder to add members.
Yeah.
And then you can sell those on the secondary market if you don't care who's in your guild, or you give them to the people who you want to be in your guild. Members can then activate that NFT, so they're not bound by any of the rules of being in the guild until they activate that NFT. So you can't Shanghai somebody into your guild. You have to have their participation.
Opt-in, yeah.
Yeah, and I think on the NFT it'll say what split for rewards you've decided to have, like what the tithe is, and that'll be something that isn't just tweakable, but we can have votes on that as well. Because I think members should be able to shop for guilds based on whichever one's offering sort of the best terms for them, or and they can look for either a guild with a really low tithe or a guild that has a really big community, and they can make decisions there. Once you've activated it, you'll then have the option to choose land that is in your account to put it into the guild bank. This won't transfer the land. This will just basically give the guild management tools the ability to add regions on your land and do management for it. And so then the guild owner, or if they want, they can have it sort of split up and have voting and mini DAO type setups. Will be able to decide how to do all the assignation of the shops for people, where you can only access it, but you can really only access it. Even the guild owner or the landowner can't access that shop.
Right.
Will be available in there. This is where hotels and stuff could be fun. And the guild bank can then redistribute that tithe rewards however they want, either through specific things or quests, or as we have more plugins available to them, they can do it that way.
Right.
Or they can just say, hey, look, we're redistributing it to these people. There's options.
It's an opt-in me now.
Yeah.
That I haven't said this in a while, and I'm sorry for how awkward this is. This nipple is hard right now. It lets us lean into this really amazing sort of evolution and experiment in governance that we're doing with the main Slumlord Guild. But one of the things, the second we started thinking about guilds, and this is not the most profound part of this, but it's one thing I want to just sort of make sure I drive into the Gestalt consciousness, just so that hopefully someday it actually exists. So in the portal hub in Old World, there's that downstairs part, right? Big cavern. And there's a bunch of portals to some of the different places you can go in Old World, and it's cool. Fine. There's also a lot of wall space. So guilds that hit the maximum size should have giant logos and big banners up on the walls in there, to just so that people could learn about them, see them, whatever it is. Just going down there and seeing a bunch of the mega communities that are kind of growing up would just be really cool.
Totally, right? It lets us offer things to guilds as if they were a new kind of entity, which they kind of are, right? And like you say, having portal wall space that an individual might not be able to buy, but a guild, even if it is a guild of one, right, might have certain amounts of access to. Membership size is a great gate. There's also we could have the guilds directly burning up Liftium just as a prestige thing. There's lots of things we can do. I was thinking about the hardcore survival world cluster, and the first world there could have these enclaves, which would be large plots, maybe 250s by 250s, but there might only be 30 of them on the world, or 20 of them on the world. All the rest of the space is free for all PvP, and maybe only guilds can participate in an auction for those initial enclaves. And then there's lots of options for how we could roll out the survival world, but having bigger purchases targeting guilds that are groups of people that are already ready to pool their assets for those purchases could be a ton of fun.
Yeah,
definitely. Or maybe providing special services only available to guilds, there is a guild for installations, or I don't know, or having really interesting mechanics, like making guild members staking to the guild, so there's also some kind of competition for players, and an incentive to hold them, and all this kind of stuff.
Some kind of mechanic where you gain advantage from pooling and staking up Lithium. I think it's just that feels inevitable. Who knows when.
Oh yeah, well, and you've been saying too, this is a mini world DAO, and it is in a tech sense too, right? You take guilds, you add the ability to mint NFTs that then the guild loses the ability to control region access over, and you add the ability to control to a certain extent what plugins are active on that world and what config settings are active on that world, and therefore which cluster it is in. And then you use the staking for how many rewards, what ratio of the total rewards your world is going to gain access to. And you've got world DAOs. That's the entire interface. And then we just have the world marketplace that we would have to build to have it done. So this gets us quite a ways there. We just then have to get to the population that would want to spin off worlds at that rate. So
it's how long before the first guild becomes connected to an actual Wyoming DAO LLC?
That's another really good call, because they'll be managing and pooling assets. They might be having people who are doing quests for them and farming. Like there's so much stuff that could be
They
going
can
on. They might
tokenize. They
want
can
that.
tokenize their own shit.
Yeah.
Like that's like
Well, like maybe what you're hinting at there too is like we could look down the line of having the guild or the world DAO be able to press a button and mint a token either on Ethereum or Wax with an extra fee around that, and then they can do whatever the heck they want with that token. They can use snapshot.org. They could, we could make that easier for them than it has been for us. So
yeah, exactly. Like running through it, right? And like even like down to the connections that we've established to literally create the legal architecture around it, right? There's a cost to that, but like that we could just figure that out, right? That I mean that like whew, that's exciting. All right. Dennis, you want to add anything to that before we move on?
No, basically I think my head explodes when I think about guilds and what we could do with it, but I guess that would be a session of its own here.
Right, one thing at a time. All right, achievements pay off. Unlock gorgeous account-bound achievements for various stats or things you are doing and level up. And the best thing, they do not only look awesome in your wallet or account, you can enable features and benefits by having combos of them. Dennis, you have like an example of this?
Yeah, I'm thinking about skill systems, for example, in RPG games or in these kind of multiplayer shooters and something like this. So you will start with an entry level and work your way up and have also special achievements for special things. For example, I don't know, portal builder. I built 10 portals or something like this. And we could, for example, pick arbitrary things and combinations we reward from time to time, or make it an entry level to do X or something like this. It's a little bit mixed up with the season pass idea and other stuff, and we need to balance it. But it could be fun because many people just like achievements and work towards them. But it should not be mandatory, but more like fun. Oh, I enabled a new achievement.
yeah, well, and like you've been hinting, what those achievements result in, what bonuses we can ultimately impact, or something the DAO is going to have to work on too. Because again, this is related to what kind of advantages you can offer to people. The obvious one is going to be modulations on rewards. There's various things we can do to adjust how one's individual interaction with the reward system goes. Like we're going to try one soon where you're getting a small percent bonus for every plot that you visit that week, encouraging people to go out and visit different plots. And obviously, everyone's going to therefore have a different multiplier on their rewards points based on how many plots they went out and visited. Same thing like for season passes, for guild bonuses, for achievements. They're like modulating rewards is easy. Doing things beyond that's going to need some DAO discussion to make sure that we do it right, but it's very doable. There are other places we can get hooks in. There is also one already in existence, right? The Upliftium Degen infused wallet is one of these achievements, right? It's just based on how much Upliftium you have lifetime earned as of one snapshot so far. And so we'll continue to do snapshots and drop new ones like that. But lifetime earned Upliftium is one type stat that we're tracking already under a system like this.
Definitely. It was basically the first test for something like that.
Right. I've had so many people like, hey, what are these for? I'm like,
Well, and that's sort of a hint there. Like, probably the first thing they're going to be for is a flat percentage bonus on rewards, right? Like,
I mean, I need more of those things. Yeah, no, that's exactly. Like, there's a trillion things that we can do on that. So, ads, an image plugin rewrite to support user-initiated picture swaps. Also allowing a user to register for a content delivery network to display ads. Now, Tuttle, how much should I talk about why this came up?
Not much at all.
Okay. Well, we had a very major crypto website ask us to look into this for a deal they wanted to make with us exclusively. Now, then things got a little bit weird and we've been a little distracted, but that's kind of where kind of what this means, right? So basically you can have a billboard and on our end, right, or on the user end, you could swap out advertisement billboards or whatever, right? So you can say, hey, I got these 4 images or whatever. I want this one for this week and this one for this week, and so that would be kind of automatic, which would be really cool. Like frankly I need that for Uplift Tower like real bad. I would probably need like 7 of those. But then you could have it also set up so that the content delivery network. Can you maybe, because you kind of understand this, I think, Tuttle, a little bit better than I do. So when we say content delivery network to display ads, kind of what does that mean and what would the implications be?
So this is the same basic way that would determine how you as an individual are seeing like pop-up ads or like website-based ads. Companies sort of bid to get into a pool of ads, and then they put their ad in that pool, and then determining based on how much they bid or what the frequency of that is, their ad will show up with a certain amount of frequency across all the different like billboards that this company owns. And so this would be the same idea where like there might be multiple networks that you've got the option of saying, hey, look, I want the 3 billboards on these plots to be registered for a content delivery network for NFT projects on Wax. Mm-hmm. And then any NFT projects on Wax could bid to have their pictures in those pools. And then you wouldn't have to worry about what the pictures are. They would get swapped out for you to keep you compliant with whoever's bidding. You get a fraction of that revenue. The DAO would get a fraction of that revenue. There's, a lot of sharing opportunities there. And you'd be able to determine which networks you were participating in. This could be stuff that the DAO creates completely from scratch. Or again, there are these existing networks that are already delivering ads on other crypto platforms that we could partner with and say, look, your banner ads, as long as they're compliant enough to be on Nifty Blocks or Atomic Hub or Crypto Slam or any of these other places, we can be added to that pool, and just our billboards of that size will now, that people have registered for, will count and will swap automatically.
Yeah, I mean that's a big one. That's a big one. Dennis, event calendar. Well, yeah, exactly that. An event calendar. I think we're kind of working on this already, right, Dennis?
Yeah, we have some kind of alpha version online now. We will get a little update, I think today or tomorrow, and make it really fun. And everyone should put his or her event in as soon as we are ready, which will be soon.
Nailed it. More data that looks fun on Maps. Maps plugin rewrite for more intuitive data layers, including real-time listings and sales, and for better resource usage. That's the thing. Anybody using DinMap, which is what we use for Maps now. I mean, a lot of you guys have noticed that sometimes they just don't work. Sometimes they take a while to update. But I've been astounded at the amount of data depth that we already can do, right? Like just like it was like a couple months ago where suddenly like the rewards for a season, right? You can see a heat map for the rewards for a season, and on the 3D map they're like they get like it's actually like a almost like a graph on top of the map where you can see where people have been earning the most uplifting and stuff. And so I think there's a lot of different things to that. And then again, like connecting them to I think even just connecting to a profile page makes more sense to me. But again, the DAO we can work all this stuff out, because then instead of necessarily listening to real time listing and sales, it just connects to the asset page for that, and then everything flows out of that. Right? You've got the comment section for that piece of land. You've got the connection to where you can buy it, or whether there's an active listing or whatever. Right? And then things can just kind of grind from there. But anyway, that having all that stuff on Maps is super rad. Have we thought about or would it be possible, I guess, Chris, maybe I'm asking this question because I don't know. I don't even know now. I don't even know if it would make sense like having like actual logos on the map, or should we just like let people build that because it's kind of cool and we already do it.
It's so cool to let people build them.
Right.
That is a tough one, but we could always have another layer, like a scene from space layer that is specifically abstracted that lets people do a pixel art over that region. Like there might be something fun we could do. I just wouldn't want it to override what the default experience is of the map.
Yeah. No, I think you're totally right. You shall pass. I'm totally having a Gandalf moment, even though that's the opposite. So passports allow access with or without rewards earning to non-landowners who also aren't members on a plot. Can be gated per world or open access. Already developed, but we need to decide how to integrate them in regular worlds, not just use them for events and experience worlds. So anybody who's been around for the last little while, we released passports for kind of a big sort of open house before the takeoff auctions that we did. Worked really, really well. People had a blast doing it too. So I just saw a bunch of people collecting a bunch of them, right? Because it was like one, you could get kind of one per wallet, but anybody who had multiple wallets was like going out and getting 10 of them, but then going to Twitter and giving them away, and like hosting sort of a really awesome giveaway posts and inviting people to come in. It created a lot of happy noise and a lot of new people in our ecosystem. So it just seems like no matter what we do with this, we know we need to do something. We just need to kind of hammer out the details and then start iterating on it.
Right. We've gotten a little further in that, like, we think the best way to implement them first is as like monthly bus passes. Basically, where each passport shows sort of the month and the year that it's good for, then is expired after that. And then we could offer a few of them for sale for wax each month, either once or twice each month. We could offer some for sale for Upliftium each month. We could give some away through the reward system, or at least in the first couple of weeks of the month. Maybe people don't want them the last week, but maybe it doesn't matter, right? And we could potentially give them away through blends if we were trying to clean up existing blends of other old passports and things like that.
Yeah.
Just like a bus pass redemption program. So if we had a slot of each of those open that opens at the beginning of each month, and then when they're sold out in that slot, they're sold out in that slot, that's fine. Then people can do what they want with them. Also, once we're ready for our Ethereum land sale, holding 100 DAO tokens on Ethereum will count as a passport. So that'll be a really interesting way to get new users who already have Ethereum wallets on board. You can just send them 100 DAO tokens and say, look, you're already good to go. So, and that'll be permanent.
Sorry for the tangent here, but did I see that like the Ethereum wallet connection thing is something that we're kind of ready to just launch now?
Yes, yeah, it might pop up today.
Fucking Flow. I mean, come on. You guys rock. Like,
yeah, Flow is killing it with the Ethereum side of things too. Like, yeah, it's been really impressive to watch him straddle both worlds.
That's the whole thing. But yeah, I love the idea too of like having monthly passport things going out all over the place. Not only as collector's items, because I think like 10 years down the road, like, wait a minute, you have like a month 3 freaking blah blah blah. We can use different images for it. We can get promote other builds like we did with the postcards. Which again, like postcards, really obviously they will be involved in a lot of blends in the future. Just because why wouldn't we, right? But yeah, I think anything that has that like more NFTs out that kind of can go for a collector thing if people are into that, but are like very easy fodder for us to then target for really cool blends in the future. Just like it's just a no-brainer. Not Amazon yet, but this improvement will do. So shops plug and rewrite to support shops that buy real world items, player to player payments, animal selling, and jobs. This is where like not even Jimmy, because he would write 10,000 words about this and it would actually make sense, but even I would, right? Like this is the most succinct, earth-shattering 2 lines that I can think of. And I mean, again, there's a few other actual examples in this thing, but just so that people understand how completely mental this is, right? You can go in, you can buy glass for Upliftium. Yay, that's fun, right? People use it. Wait until you're setting up your plugin, and we've got an internal payment system where you can attach again, like whether we end up using Upliftium or different cryptocurrencies or whatever it is, there's an actual buy button that's a punchline buy thing, right? And it's like for a picture of a freaking Nike shoes or NFTs or whatever, right? So it ends up being just the ability for this Minecraft layer to become Shopify or Amazon, right? You walk into a store after seeing some NFT release or fashion release or like real world art, or again, like any kind of clothes or any like 3D models of builds in the Uplift, whatever it is, and you'll have the ability to buy it right from within the system itself, which we've kind of mapped out as really possible, right? And it's just a matter of carving out the dev team to get it done. So that's a thing. Chris, did I get any of that wrong? Just because I know I was ranting a little bit there.
No, you got it right.
Okay. Easy social logins. Never use password twice again. Social logins so that any chain activity doesn't require a Wax wallet, or cross-chain activity doesn't require a Wax wallet. Though Wax rewards still will. Like the reward system that we have with Uplift and Wax, I think they're going to require Wax wallets, obviously.
And similarly, if you ever want to crystallize it over onto Ethereum, you'll need an Ethereum wallet to crystallize, right? But yeah, we're going to have the social logins at that base layer so that it's not just linked to sort of Minecraft wallets and Wax wallets. We don't want to gate people on other chains as well to have to get a new wallet for a chain they've never been on until they've gotten in World and experienced it just a little bit.
Right. Yeah, I mean, like having a situation where I can mint a 10 million or 50 million Upliftium NFT, even on Ethereum, as a collector's item is sort of fascinating to me. But on, we actually had a really cool Cypher Wars collection that's going up on Terra. And Chris, you'll love this. Jimmy was all like, "Oh, you guys are gonna love each other." Blah, 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 blah. Whatever. He's a science fiction nerd, and so am I. Great. But he's read the culture novels more times than I have. Right. So we ended up nerding out about all this crazy stuff. Anyway, his firm opinion is that we should be on Terra in whatever way we possibly can as quickly as humanly possible. And I sort of feel like that's true for a lot of these chains, right? I mean, that getting some kind of basic world up all over the place, like that fires me up. Jimmy and I were actually brainstorming about creating a whole other portal hub for new chains, right? So you're in the portal hub or whatever, just off to the side or whatever. I could just imagine like just a big open area where you're sort of walking from Ethereum over to Terra or from Terra over to whatever, wherever. I think it's gonna be
and we need help on this one too. Like we can be on as many chains as we're able to easily read NFT information on and mint NFTs on, right? So if you're already on a chain, if you already have connections with developers on a chain, especially if it's not directly EVM compliant, and you can help set us up with that, it'll be so much faster for the DAO to vote to say, yeah, let's just deploy a couple of worlds and roll. So
yep, this is the way. My land key is better than yours, and you know it. Land key upgrade, so keys display an updating map image of your plot. Land key upgrade, so like burn the land key NFT that you have right now and get a new one that has an updating map image of your plot as the actual image on the NFT. I'm going to read that one more time just so people understand what it is, because it's nuts. Like you go to your plot on world maps and you see the image there. You can burn your generic NFT, and the NFT that you get back will not only be the image that you would see on there, presumably the 3D image that you would see on DinMap, but it will update automatically. Forever. Game over. Like that's like one of one NFTs, period, anywhere, right? Whether it's PFP projects or whatever. Like the one of one NFTs has always been on my mind for this, because there's so much individualized creativity on each one of these builds that just the NFTs don't show that. They don't show any of that, right? And I think the profile pages for the asset pages, I think, is going to help for that. World Maps has always helped with that, so people can kind of get an idea of that stuff. But when the NFT itself shows an automatically updating image of what's built there, shut the front door. Just add a 0 to the price of everything.
Yeah. So the upgrade to display the image is going to be pretty straightforward. For anyone who's wondering, the current idea too is to set those one of one land keys to have a fixed Upliftium mining rate, so you'll no longer be in a pool with everybody else as well. I just know people are going to ask. To get it to auto update, I'm sure Nefty will help us out, but it would be also really nice if people would talk to Atomic Hub. So on OpenSea and LooksRare and on the Ethereum-based marketplaces, every NFT has a quick button to refresh the metadata, and there are periodic metadata refreshes where those marketplaces update all their cached images with the new version of the image. Atomic Hub doesn't right now, at least not on the main image. It's a fairly small feature for them to implement, but I don't think they've had a really big need to do so yet. This would be a big one. Like I said, I don't think Nefty does automatically right now, but I bet you they would add it there.
Yeah, if we
innovate.
This is why I want to focus on working with Nefty all the time, because if we told one that we wanted that, they could just tell us how many days it was going to be before it existed. So yeah, that's a good note. We'll need to, and I'm sure Jonah would look at it as well if we let him know. All right. I mean that one's huge. Like 1-of-1 NFTs is crazy. So and my land key is unique. Just saying 1-of-1 land key upgrades with an updating in-game photo. Okay, this is sort of the same thing. Bit of a different idea. So in-game photo or 3D model of what's on the plot. So this is where that we talked about doing kind of one or the other, or both or what have you. I think that the simplest, most elegant version is using the map updating feature or what have you. I think even as a manual thing we could do sooner, or as something that people might want in the future, and the DAO can vote on it. The ability to have that 3D voxel. If I could get an NFT of a 1-of-1 NFT that had the Cathedral 2.0 as an example, that like had the whole 3D voxel spinning, I would spend a stupid amount of wax or uplift team on that. And so that might be something that we could sort of look at in the future as well. Good talk. All right. We sort of talked about this before, but I think it's worth bringing up again. So make NFTs out of your Minecraft resources and do crazy stuff. It's not just crystallizing Minecraft resources or things into NFTs. You also get to do crazy stuff. Resource NFT economy. Players can export batches of Minecraft resources as NFTs and use them for NFT crafting and trading on secondary markets, Atomic, Nifty, whatever they do on Terra. I imagine it can eventually be kind of everywhere. And so yeah, we've talked about all that stuff, and I think it the things that the DAO will be able to do with all of those resources once they're out in NFT space is really amazing and fun, and we'll have a blast with that. But again, I think when outside projects realize how much amazing complexity and juice they're going to be able to create by incorporating those resources into games of their own, just shut the front door. It's going to be mental. You guys have anything you want to add on that?
Yeah, you got it.
That's it. Yeah.
Cool beans. I can hear voices in my head. Again, titles. So sorry, I thought this was Jimmy. It's clearly Dennis Genius. So Discord in-world chat bridge. I mean, one of the things we noticed right away before it became the Uplift, and we just had the server open, during the early days of the pandemic, people would hop on a Zoom, turn all the video off in the Zoom, just have the audio on, and go in game. Right. So two different systems kind of running in parallel, where you're building with each other on a plot or whatever. You're basically just able to communicate and talk like you're there. So this would allow for I think access and integration so that people could actually be in game and sort of connect it to Discord outside of the game, and kind of step into rooms so that you actually had sort of audio chat that was sort of around the idea of proximity audio or that kind of thing, right? Which is something we get asked about all the time.
Correct, but not just that, and we should make it maybe a little bit clearer here. This would be audio through, being able to, ideally, when you join a world, it joins the right Discord voice chat for that world, but also text chat. We miss all sorts of great stuff that's going on in-game, and people who are in-game don't always have Discord open. So having a bridge there where each world's chat also exists as a Discord chat that people can jump into and participate right in is going to really blur that line. So
yeah, that's fun. All right, please leave me a gift after the beep. So proximity audio for broadcast to nearby players. This is something that we've seen. It's sort of outside third party things, but in the same way that, and tell me if I'm wrong about this, but in the same way that you could have a sign that pops up when you walk onto a piece of land. We could have sort of audio, maybe even looping audio that can just be playing, once you're a certain distance away from, something, or once you're in a plot. Is that kind of accurate?
Exactly, like a PA system.
Right.
And this will probably have to be opt-in, right? It'll either happen through the Discord system if we're able to make it work, where there's basically pre-recorded messages in Discord voice channels that get used for it, or it'll be something that involves a browser window that you keep open behind Minecraft if you want to have access to it. It's not something that we're able to force on people. So that's just a concession to keep in mind.
Right, and this is like Zestra in the comments was asking, so proximity audio will add lag, right? So I think anything that we're looking at doing in audio is going to basically have an outside, whether it's a browser window or Discord. It's going to be a different system that runs that, so that we don't try to force, the kind of data that comes with audio through the tiny little straw that is the Minecraft server architecture.
Well put.
All right, your portal to another dimension, cross-server plot-to-plot portal installs. I get asked about this a lot. So I have a plot in, Gratitude, and I want to set it to a plot in like TC's gallery in Genesis. Right now, I can't do it, but this suggests that at some point, maybe we could do it.
Yeah, exactly. It's probably going to involve a minor rewrite of the existing portal plugin, unless we figure out a new portal plugin that is open source and pretty safe and that will help us. Help us out there. There might be other features we want to add. So it's a great example of an area where we haven't thought through all the different things people might want to use portals for that they can't currently. So I'd love proposals on one-pagers around expanding the current portals beyond just cross-server plot-to-plot installs, because that does seem like a fairly minor feature to add for the amount of work that it would take for a whole plugin rewrite personally.
Right. All right. By the power of my new item, NFT-based buffs of in-game stats and or rewards. I mean, this to me, I was talking about this real early on as a function of, Upliftium sort of play to earn, proof of play mining, right? Where, you could, buy or blend or get NFTs that would, give you like, I don't know, like a 1% buff on, some particular kind of earning stat or what have you, right? So I can't wait for us to be able to do some stuff like this. Like this is the kind of thing where, like, because we've done a lot of brainstorming on it, where you guys don't know, Dennis will go away and he'll come back with like a 20-page brief on a completely and totally fully fledged game architecture that we could just plug into this. We've seen a few of those and they're all amazing. Like they should just pretty soon, Dennis, you're just going to be a factory for like putting out like DAO proposals that are just going to end up being the most popular things anyone has ever seen. Do you guys want to add anything to that before we?
I just realized we have this one twice, so you can skip the next.
Oh, all right. I mean, but it's like both have amazing titles. By the power of my new item, behold. So good at it. Anyway, so let's get physical. NFTs to physical goods. The possibility to redeem certain NFTs for physical goods. I mean, that the VIRL thing is kind of all over the place, right? It'd be amazing if there was a project or somebody we knew in the space that was creating, an NFT gated, marketplace, so that you could actually, buy things in the real world that were linked to NFTs.
And honestly, blockchain cards might still be somebody we can reach out to get this done, right? I think you got your shirts from him.
So
but he has NFT burns. Oh yeah.
Yeah, he's been kind of doing his own thing, but Andre and I are working on this.
Yay!
But when I say Andre and I, like I'm helping him think through it, and he's building it because he's smarter than me. But yeah, this is a thing that's going to happen. So we're probably going to have an MVP of something like this in the pretty near future. And I'm
guessing whichever system does this is how we're going to fulfill the Christmas gift reward items, because those were physical items that we were just about ready to do, right? And so some people have redeemed for them for the water bottle or the sweatshirt or a couple of things, and we still don't have the right channel to get it out to people.
That's a good point. So yeah, you know what? I totally forgot about all that stuff. So yeah, we should definitely chat about that and figure out how to get it done. I put a DAO inside your DAO so you can world DAO. So world DAOs. Actually, you know what, Chris? I'm just gonna let you take this one because, yep.
Sure. Yeah. So world DAOs, an Upliftium vending machine for small new worlds. The DAO will keep the rail on world purchase, probably, where the buyer or group of buyers gets all of the land plots. A buyer or a group of buyers can then choose what cluster the world is in, as long as they choose rules that are compatible with that cluster, what chain it is on, and many basic rules. Upliftium could then be staked to the world to include it in the rewards distributions, where the more Upliftium you add, the more percentage of the rewards go to people who are active in your world. There's a lot that can be done from this, right? Like, this is the basic core of sustainable world release for us. Like, one of the issues in a way with what NFT Worlds did when they released 10,000 worlds at a time is now you've got a lot of people competing with each other for potential play to earn spaces, but also a lot of worlds that are getting or that are just sitting there and that are effectively adding land to the whole ecosystem without necessarily having that direct benefit. With this, you'll be able to use that Upliftium to get a world when you feel that a world is needed, either for you or for your guild or for a project that you're doing. You'll be able to set the rules. You'll be able to choose from a bunch of different worlds. So you'll be able to find a biome that's compatible, and you'll be able to build what you guys want to build in there. It's hopefully going to be a really sustainable system.
Yeah, so basically at a certain point, whether it's like 5 billion Upliftium or something, it's like some massive, truly massive Upliftium burn. When we mint this world, again, just to kind of walk through so people get it, you get all the NFTs that are from that, right? So you can go out and sell those NFTs, and they're going to be from the DAO's collection. And again, like, it kind of makes sense to keep the rail. Although we could probably imagine a level of Upliftium burn that might, or even like add on some wax or something that would.
And this is that guild side and how it relates to guilds, right? Like in theory, they might want the world, and maybe the DAO says, "Hey, we're going to take 25% of all minted plots, but you can choose when you want to mint those plots and which plots you give to the DAO." Right? There might be a way to do that, or you pay an extra fee if you really need to have all the lands for yourself and have none for the DAO.
Yeah.
But then, like, you could manage regions on it, and you could mint the NFTs all at once or just as needed, right? Like, one of the cool things about Chicken Ka is the way that it's set up differently. It's not just a grid of NFTs, and so you'll have freedom on even how you shape those initial NFTs and plots.
Yeah, that's cool. And I like the idea too of like that we've talked about back and forth a bunch about increasing the amount of Upliftium burn that's required to launch each new one. Like, the simplest version might look like however many billions of Upliftium it costs to do the first one. Like, we tack on 1 billion every time, or something. Could be interesting.
Yeah, I super agree. And personally, I think that strategy should be used all over the place in the DAO for our sales. Like, flat rate sales are fine, but there's no reason not to say, hey, look, with each one purchased, it goes up a little bit, right? And just, it incentivizes people to get in early. Also, it rewards the people who have, say, stockpiled Upliftium for things like this so that they can be participating on that early side instead of trying to assemble it as the price goes up a little bit. And it lets us have a hypothetical larger number or even an infinite number of something for sale without flooding the market, because you've got bots and speculators that want to buy out that whole stock and see what they can get for it.
Right. It's like a reverse Dutch auction.
Yeah.
Good talk. All right. Other chains have nice players too. Transdimensional Rift incoming. So Cross-Chain Worlds, we talked about this a bunch, but and I never go a show without mentioning this and how, I don't know. This hits me at the soul level. The idea that we can go to all these different chains, they all have their own tribes, they all have their own ecosystems, and we can be a very real and very experiential way to connect them all, right? So, we launch NFTs on Ethereum or on Terra or on Solana. And for real, I'm envisioning a giant Grand Central Station thing where you can go to different rooms, and those rooms have all the portals for Ethereum or for Solana or whatever. But it means you have to walk by a bunch of people that are sort of going from world to world to world to get from one to another, but you can walk from Solana to Ethereum and back, right? And all the different sort of neighborly shoulder rubbing that will go on with that. I can't stop thinking about it. It's gonna be brilliant. Wax and Upliftium are not enough. You're welcome. So partner tokens being dropped for rewards in addition to Upliftium and Wax. Again, we for this season, that's gonna have to come to the end of the season because we have to get the purchase done before we do anything that's complicated or fun. We're gonna be dropping blue to everybody that earned any Upliftium, during this season. And we've kind of got a backlog for other projects that are interested. And I'm talking to them about doing this kind of thing as well. I imagine Ken will at some point. I haven't talked to him about it yet.
And this can be fungible or non-fungible tokens. So we're dropping shards now through the rewards. We're giving out a certain set number, and we're doing a random draw for each shard where people can win multiple times. A partner project could set that to say, hey, look, they only want each person to be able to win once at most. Or they might say, hey, look, we're going to give enough so that you can give it to everybody this week. There's options, and you can reach out if you've got a project that you'd really like to drop some non-fungible tokens to.
Yeah.
And of course, non-fungible tokens could even mean packs.
Oh, snap. Yeah, like that. I think we just become a really amazing place for people to go and find, a few thousand of the coolest people anywhere in the metaverse, and then, a few tens of thousands and so on. So I think it becomes really, really amazing. So yeah.
Well, I would like the biggest thing that I played a lot of Axes back in the day, and the biggest thing I thought they did right that I don't understand why they dropped was they had each season sponsored by a partner. And so I learned about Aave, I learned about Dai, I learned about a few other projects because they sponsored that season and did a small amount of token drop to everyone who was playing. And I think in the same way we could become that distributor where partner projects get access to the whole community who's going to therefore be a little bit more aware of the project, but they also drop something directly of value to that community, and they're paying the community, not the DAO,
right
know?
Yeah, it just goes straight to everybody. Yeah, love it. So well, have you considered upgrading? So Minecraft version upgrade, again, we get asked about this a fair amount, and again, the DAO can vote on when we spend dev time on this versus, we've got a laundry list of amazing things, right? How important is it compared to one of one NFTs as an example? But Minecraft specific players or people coming from the Minecraft community, the more recent iterations of Minecraft Java are they're pretty fun. So, eventually we'll be able to vote on when we want to upgrade those. It's a lot of work for us to do that because any of the plugins that we have created for this iteration, we're going to have to go back and rewrite and adapt and enhance so that they'll actually work with all this new stuff. But someday. Yeah, so supporting consoles, support consoles and other platforms via Minecraft Bedrock client support. Chris, have you spent some time thinking about this stuff? I mean, obviously,
Yeah, we're looking at it right now, actually.
Yeah.
I think that there may be a test version spun up on one of our dev servers, if not already this week, looking at geysers so that we can have Bedrock support, and there's a plugin that we can use to translate the packets so that we can have people from any Minecraft version connect to us, even though we're on a different version. So I think that'll make a huge difference if it doesn't matter which version you're firing up, and if it doesn't matter what platform you're firing it up on, you can just get in.
Oh yeah,
that'll be much better for the onboarding process. So.
Being able to play in the Uplift from my Xbox, I don't know why that'd be cool, but it would. And just it reduces one of the key elements of friction. I think that'll have a pretty intense effect on the number of people that are messing around. So, teleportation to other server networks. What does this mean?
This is hypothetical and is going to require partnership with those networks, but we would really like to be involved in the development of a way to walk through what feels just like a portal in your Minecraft in the Uplift, and to pop in a world in an NFT worlds or in another Minecraft project. To me, metaverse is all about that cross-compatibility of items, but also that of presence, being able to feel like you're moving from one place to the other. And in theory, we're all on Minecraft. We should be able to figure out a solution that is easier than having someone jump from multiple disparate platforms that aren't built on any of the same infrastructure. But it's a project that still needs R&D time. It's one of the reasons it'll be really nice to be in a position where Dr. Wayne is in, R&D in residence instead of necessarily putting out fires. So
yeah, I agree. Upliftium does not judge you. Multi-chain Upliftium crystallization and melting. Chris, you should talk about this. I'll just rant about it. But you're actually the one that kind of brought it up, and it just made me pee myself a little bit.
Yeah, well, I mean, the idea is simple, right? Upliftium is our in-game currency, and we're offering crystallization. But because we're on the Wax chain, crystallization came in the form of NFTs on Wax first. And that's great. And it's enabled lots of people to move value back and forth between the chain and the game. As soon as we open up crystallization on a secondary chain, it enables people on both chains to move value into and out of the game, which has a whole bunch of really interesting implications for, where the Uplift sits in crypto economy, not just for in-game economies. I don't know if I need to spell it out in more detail, but Corey sure can if he wants.
No, I just like we become a de facto bridge for it. Just whatever.
Right?
It's amazing. Just
Like,
spend a few seconds thinking about it. Hodl Gang, hodl gating based on held upliftium bonuses or rewards and special NFT access. You guys might have seen this in other player games. Basically, just holding a bunch of upliftium itself can at certain points target you for drops and different fun rewards and stuff.
Right? And at its core, we want, and I'm sure the DAO will sort of agree, we want people to really think hard on, hey, do I want to be holding it right now? Do I want to be burning it right now? Do I want to be staking it right now? And for different people to have different answers to that question based on what they do in game, for there not to be one definite answer that everyone then piles onto as the best way to earn something,
Love it. So ETH world, Ethereum-based world with open to all plot mint. Again, we've talked about going to different chains. Ethereum is sort of our near-term focus for a bunch of different reasons. So we just added that in there as an extra little. Yeah, sure, why not? So I feel powerful, but with power comes responsibility. So increased observer and moderator capabilities. Chris, can you talk a little bit about the observer program and kind of how that's gone and where you think that's headed?
Yeah, so we started with our world observers, more than a couple of months ago now. And they've been doing a great job being able to enter spectator mode and look out for auto farms or for bots or people executing scripts or doing other things that are not in line with our rules. And then they've been passing that information on to people who have the abilities to do bans or to wipe out the auto farms. We've got a rules and bans committee that's the current name for it, at least, that plans to be formed during the DAO. And once that forms up, the observers would be sort of reporting to that committee if they're not also on the committee. And at that point, people who are on the rules and bans committee could gain access to, the ability to actually do bans or enforce things instead of it being a team side. The committee could also discuss how to empower those observers with more features. Like we're talking about the ability to not show up on people's player lists. There's a bunch of things that I won't necessarily go into, but giving those observers as much powers as possible to make this easy. I know there's also talk in world about people setting up things like police forces or less formal versions of the observers that are just out there making a presence, and I think that's super cool too. And it would be cool if the rules and bans committee finds room for that.
Yeah, that's interesting. Self-governance, man. It's weird. All your base belong to us now. Offer immigration for other server clusters that want to join the Uplift. And again, so this is in theory, we could have an NFT Worlds plot or game that decides to connect itself to the Uplift, so that you're in the portal hub, you just walk through a door, and bam, you're in this other place, which is pretty cool.
Correct. We could also offer, say, smaller Minecraft networks that are currently servers that don't have NFT stuff at all, that just have players and are enjoying themselves. We could offer them migration right into the Uplift, where they're now under us. They can choose what they want to do with the NFTs and the tools that would gain them access to, but it would give everybody that cross-teleportation. Similarly, if somebody owns an NFT world but has no idea what they want to do with it, we might be able to set up a system where those people could inject that NFT world into the Uplift as if it were a world DAO and work with that seed instead of a seed that came out of a vending machine in a way that's sort of mutually beneficial.
So now also on your phone, we kind of talked about this a little bit before, but it bears repeating. So Experience Worlds Lite, open to all mobile and browser explorable copy of worlds that update regularly and with clickable images that link to the NFT for sale. So again, take the Vine gallery or the Tub gallery from TC or whatever, right? Take a build, and I'm just envisioning this on that the asset profile page, right? Comments and links to video or whatever on that thing. You can also click over to Experience World Lite or whatever, or even just on your phone, you can walk through a build or fly through a build, and experiencing it with no Minecraft at all, right? You're just in it. And you could kind of hang out in that. Of course, I think it's only a matter of time before you can integrate that into Quest or Meta or whatever they call it now. VR type situations, but where also the punch sign get thing works there, right? So it's not just having shops that are or NFT galleries or whatever that are usable storefronts in the Uplift world in Minecraft, but in things that are accessible by anything down to just a basic mobile phone from these days. So that gets pretty crazy pretty fast. All right, craft your items, improve your land. Land upgrades through crafted or found items adds another external dimension to crafting, fun, and land management. So is this like one of those things where just that I understand it properly, where you can do a bunch of craft things or whatever, and maybe you upgrade your land so that it earns like 1% more upliftium, or you could upgrade maybe to the point where you have the capacity to do connectium missions or something like that. Is that kind of the idea, Dennis?
Yeah, we can do a lot of things with it. We can also use land keys to enable other kind of games, or make you build your own base in a parallel metaverse game and stuff like this. There are so many possibilities. It's really a rough sketch here. And speaking of land, I just noticed that 2 of my updates have been discarded by the system, it seems. I can put them in here. It's our land decks, which are basically sets of land keys or packs of land keys that are on particular servers. And in this way, people can build up their own communities or try to get in, because we are currently combining these kind of land decks or land sets with the charts you can collect and burn into land packs. And these are 2 points that are not here, but should be here.
All right. So loot expectation over 9,000. So automatic NFT drops for in-game actions again. So if I have this right, so this might be a little bit weird, but like on your new ice boating thing, there could be a possibility for like I don't know, crossing the finish line or something, like having some kind of in-game action. That might not be a good example, but having some kind of in-game action that wasn't just punch sign get thing that could trigger an NFT drop.
Yeah, exactly. So, like, more than just punch sign get thing stuff for the community to use, but also all of these tools for the DAO to use, right? So, like, you might be walking around in world and suddenly get an announcement that says, hey, look, you took your 1,000,000th step. The DAO grants you this NFT that says, hey, look, I took 1,000,000 steps in game.
Right.
Check your wallet, it's already there, right? And so there might be surprises like that the rewards committee or other groups can seed in and have those automatically happen at certain checkpoints.
Yeah,
like
definitely. Or you could build your own Diablo clone or something like this with a zombie labyrinth, or I don't know what that drops unique items.
Right, you're just walking
different
around and
rarities.
like every random number of steps, or every time you walk over, I don't know, a certain kind of stuff, you have a percentage chance of winning something.
Yeah,
Yeah.
well, and somebody in Discord chat a couple of days ago mentioned the idea of maybe paying Upliftium to have your NFT come out as loot when you kill something. And like that could either be on your plot or all over the world. You could pay and say, hey, look, I've got 2,000 of them. They'll drop with a certain percentage chance every time someone kills a creeper. For the
Chickens. Every single time I go, like there's like even old world or it's like just so many chickens everywhere. That would be a great way to clean up chickens. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah, definitely.
Not that I have
can
anything,
remember.
I don't mind chickens or ducks or whatever the heck they are, but
Yeah,
funny.
that would be very useful.
right. All right, so definitely the longest episode, but we had to do this all at once. We'll get into to upcoming worlds in the next one, I think. But yeah, thank you very much, guys, for joining us for this one. Dennis and Chris, thank you guys very much.
This was so great. Just one thing I'd like to throw out to people too: cut this up if you can. Like, grab this video, take clips of it. Like, there's so much short material in here that a lot of people who don't read the white paper aren't aware of. And if you could help us out by trimming it up and sharing it on Twitter and Discord in ways that's a little more digestible, we would love that.
Yeah, that's cool. Yeah, just pick, because you can do that on YouTube. Just pick the link to the video, the timestamp link to the video, share that stuff out. So if you have a favorite one of these things, we should actually talk to Super Sam about doing that. Watch this, and whichever your favorite one is, share that link out to Twitter, and we'll have her give you some shards or something.
Great idea. Yeah.
Cool beans. All right, guys. I need some breakfast because I haven't eaten any food yet, and that's silly. So I'm gonna go do that. We got a bunch of crazy stuff going on. But yeah, Lisa, how can I give away coffee NFTs? So that's kind of what we're talking about. And again, this is a giant list of things that the DAO is going to be prioritizing on its own. So we're going to have a bunch of votes on where the team will focus its energies. And now you'll know that proposals that involve that kind of thing is what you might want to focus on voting for with your DAO tokens. Kablam. All right. Hey, Dennis, can you give me a chop?
What?
Chop.
Shop?
Yeah, sure.